What's going on, guys? What the Flux here? Gonna be playing some more StarCraft 2 today. I'm gonna try something a little bit different this time around. I'm going to be trying more of a video commentary kind of thing. This is mostly to put a face to a name. At this point, it's really hard to stand out from other commentators, so I'm gonna try something a little bit different. It's not like this hasn't been done before, but this is something that definitely has been beaten to death at this point. So. Who knows? We'll see where this goes. Maybe it's the next thing for me, but we'll see. So we're going to be playing StarCraft today, and today we're going to be playing on Steps of War, and it's going to be a PvP matchup. I'm going to be the red Protoss in the top spawn, and my opponent is going to be the blue Toss in the bottom spawn by the name of Velcro. The reason I'm bringing you guys this game is because I really want to point out that StarCraft is a thinking game more than it is, a skill game. I guess thinking is technically a skill if you want to look at it that way, but it's really about your thought process. It's how you come into the game. It's the mindset you come in with, and it's what you do after that mindset gets morphed by what your opponent is doing, or by really by whatever you see fit. So what we're really going to be doing here is we're going to be analyzing a little bit of what's going on both sides of the map, which is normally what's going to happen in almost any StarCraft cast. But the real thing I want to convey to you guys is think about what your next step is going to be before it happens. Don't come in. Well, I mean, this is a good idea. It's a good idea to come into a game with a particular strategy you want to impose on people, and then morph it from there. So, for instance, this is not an actual strategy. This is just, talking. But, build A is, let's make 6 gateways, and then let's go ahead and transition into, I don't know, for the hell of it, High Templars. Cool, awesome. Come in with that basic frame mindset, but after you do that, make sure you have a backup plan of what you're going to go to. Make sure that you're scouting a lot. Make sure that you can see what your opponent is doing. That way, whenever you do transition, it's a worthy investment for you. That's what it all comes down to. Make sure that the minerals and gas that you are spending are worth it to you. If they're not, then you're just wasting time pretty much. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump into the game a little bit. It's already about 4 minutes into it at this point, but I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. It's Steps of War, and Steps of War has this insanely short rush distance for ground units. So it's very, very common to see 2 gates from Protoss on this map, and it's rather funny that we're both actually going this build, so you'll go ahead and see how it's going to play out. He got his out a little bit faster than me because I honestly never 2 gates, so I actually had no idea what to do. I usually kind of just play it by ear and just make gateways and then make zealots from there. But so he's a little bit faster than me when it comes to this, and kind of catches me off guard. So I have my 2 gateways going, and you'll notice I have the rally point all the way over here, pretty near his base. It was actually originally set right here, and as you saw, my first zealot ran in here. And the thing about rally points is that your units will run to that end of the rally point no matter what the hell is going on. Even if they're getting attacked, even if they're getting molested, or if they're getting raped, they're just going to keep running, and it's something that kind of is very annoying, but at the same time I see the point of it because the game is punishing you for making a silly mistake. So my first zealot got picked off, and my rush completely fails. I'm pretty much, because of that failed rally point, I'm pretty much secluded back into my base, and I have to turtle up a little bit and build up and try and tech out of that early mistake. So, excuse me. So obviously I have 2 gateways, so an early transition technique is to go ahead and just transition into a 4 gate. I mean, you're already halfway there pretty much. You already have the 2 gateways going. So throwing on a cyber core and throwing down 2 more gateways. So we're going to go ahead and just switch into a 4 gate and try and regain some map control and try and get some pressure back on our opponent, which is a great play at this part because I'm definitely behind, and this is probably his first mistake. He has 6 zealots here. This is definitely this is a really good sizable force for this part of the game, considering where we are standing. He should definitely maybe be moving out and possibly just positioning them right here, keeping me contained and keeping me from expanding. And by putting his units right here, he can go ahead and take his natural expo right here and go ahead and transition into something a little, higher in the tech tree, get out of these gateway units, or get into the more sophisticated gateway units, obviously. So this is a little blunder by him, and luckily it happened for me, because otherwise I'd be pretty damn fucked. Another main reason why I pretty much I'm getting turtled into my own base and being secluded is because early on I supply blocked myself because I didn't understand the base of the build that I was going. So that's another tip I'd like to throw at you guys. If you do come into a game and you have an idea of what you want to do, make sure that you're executing it early on. That way you don't screw yourself over in the long run. And it screwed me over early, but luckily, I was just able through sheer, just hitting Z a lot and hitting Chrono Boost that, luckily I got out of it. And here we are with a pretty decently sizable force, and we're in a decent position. So taking a look back at his base, he's decided to transition into throwing down another gateway and throwing down a starport. This is a brilliant play. This is something I absolutely approve of, mainly because I did it also, but he did it a little bit faster than me. He saw that I had only Zealots, and obviously Zealots can't attack air, so just go with an air unit. And he went with probably the most powerful air unit that you can get for, bang for your buck. He's just going to send this over here, and letting it charge up, it just becomes the best air unit in the game. So we have a little bit of a confrontation here out in the midfield, and I saw that he had some units back here behind the ghosting area, and I didn't really know how many were there, so I went ahead and backed off, which wasn't necessarily a bad play in the particular situation. It definitely pays off because you see this little bugger moving up the side over here. So I have my Stargate up, and I pumped out my first Void Ray, and we've got a Void Ray battle. Yeah, the charge ups begin, and his gets charged up first, and he obviously takes it. And I'll tell you why. Look at this rally point. This rally point, once again, like I mentioned earlier, your units will run to the end of that rally point before they do anything else and before they try to defend themselves. So that cost me an early Void Ray. So pretty poor management there, but oh well, what can you do? You just gotta take the punch and try and get back up and make it a little bit better for yourself. So luckily we still have the warp gates going in, and since I saw Void Rays coming out, I decided to throw down a lot more stalkers, which is a really good play. You'll notice I'm warping in a Twilight Council here, and this is what I'm talking about with transitioning. He transitioned into Void Rays, but he didn't go hard for Void Rays. He did something very similar to what I did. He only made a couple and decided to see if they would work. And really, if a couple of Void Rays are going to work, 2 Void Rays will tell you what's going to happen. So his first Void Ray failed. Well, it didn't necessarily fail. It traded, I guess. So they were pretty much nil. So he decides to transition out of it, and I do as well. But I've sent out my next Void Ray, and it's going over here to get the stealth attack. And unfortunately for me, being an idiot, I just set him to attack. So he's just going to attack the first thing he sees, which happens to be this gateway, which isn't necessarily excuse me, isn't necessarily a bad thing because he charges up, but I wasn't paying attention to him, so he's just going to sit here and beat the crap out of this gateway. But luckily he is charged, so once he does send reinforcements, I can go ahead and just melt them, and they're going to be taken out. And I finally noticed what was going on because I was being attacked, so I decided to go ahead and try and switch over to probes, and I believe I hit my pylon, and that kind of cost me, but oh well. He sends a Phoenix at me, which I think he was just using it for scouting purposes, or maybe he was actually anticipating a ton of Void Rays and thought that would be a really good counter, so I don't know. So I finally transition and take out these 3 probes on gas, which is awesome because if somebody doesn't pay attention, they will be missing that gas for the rest of the game and won't transition over here. Always causing your opponent to have to do more APM is always a good thing. So these 3 got taken out. I don't know if he ever if he puts them back over here. I didn't really pay attention, but oh well. It made him work harder. That's awesome. Cool for me. Plus, I took out a gateway and a pylon, so that Void Ray paid for itself Definitely, absolutely. It finally took me out over there, so oh well. He actually has a Voider on the counterattack, and he sent it in here, and he's taking out some of mine, taking out some of my probes on gas, but I'm able to push him back, and what I should be doing with these Zealots is probably counterattacking, really, or at least keeping them at the front to defend, because he is doing a two-pronged attack here with a few Stalkers, and I actually do send some of mine back. And I'm, looking back, I'm glad I sent this Zealot, or this Sentry with them, because the Sentry is a great support unit for Zealots, but unfortunately I didn't really keep the pressure on. But as you guys see here, I have Dark Templar on the field, and this is what I'm talking about when it's coming to thinking a step ahead. He did see my Dark Shrine, and he rightly threw down a Forge over here, but he didn't get the detection out fast enough. He didn't get the cannons out. So fortunately for me, this has worked out. We're in really good position. These Dark Templars are going to do a ton of damage, and stupid AI, I set them just to attack on the expansion, and they're going to go ahead and follow this. And I noticed it right here, and turn them back around. And what are you doing? Kill the probes! So they'll be taking those probes out here shortly. Have some of these Stalkers still on my back base, just defending from any more Voiders. I don't know if any more are on the way at this point, so I'm a little worried, but obviously there's 2 more coming right here. So these DTs are doing work, and this expansion is going to fall because 5 DTs, that is a ton of damage. I mean, look at this. 45 damage to melee. Ridiculous. Absolutely amazing units. I love them. They're just really squishy units, so they're kind of moot, but he has an Observer out, so they're definitely going to take a little bit of damage here. But an Immortal probably wasn't the best choice. He probably should have coupled it with these 2 Zealots, and it would have done a little bit more damage. The DTs definitely would have won, but this expansion's down, so I know at this point I am for sure in the lead. I'm definitely in a very good position. His Voiders are doing work here on this expansion, and I don't have enough air units. My Stalkers are completely out of position, and they're having to run all the way down here and try and counter this. And Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries are all on my 1 hotkey, and I just hit 1 and hit attack. And obviously these Zealots were retards and ran over here. So once again, what I should have done is I should have taken the Zealots and counterattacked right away with them right when these Void Rays came, and have my Stalkers clean it up. Whenever your opponent attacks, that's also an extremely prime time for you to attack. So these are 2 charged up Void Rays, and there ain't shit I can do about it, really. I just have to warp in some more Stalkers, but warping anything on this low ground with these 2 charged up, they will get melted before they even warp in. So you'll see that right here as I warp in these 2, or 4 rather. Counting skills are amazing in the morning time, I'm telling you guys. So they do pretty good damage, but they definitely didn't pay for themselves, and this expansion is going to fall. So he definitely gets a revenge on me, but I still have DTs working in his base, and he can't do anything about it, really. There's nothing for him to work with. This Nexus falls. He still has, not great minerals, but a decent amount. That definitely hurt him. He still has a really good amount of gas, so that's a definite victory. He goes ahead and he's going to try and move up to this high ground, but it's really going to be too little too late. Just through sheer force and perseverance and a better economy at this point, I'm able to hold off the Void Rays, and this pretty much spelled as GG. So he's going to go ahead and call it, and being the ungracious opponent, I didn't have enough time to actually respond, but, whatever. So that's the game. The real reason I won here is because I came in with a plan to take, start off with an early rush, transition into something that would still keep the pressure on, transition into Void Rays, which would completely give him a 180 and make him transition into something else because he doesn't know if more are coming, and then transition into something that he definitely wasn't prepared for whatsoever in any slightest way. So I had 3 transitions here, and each one had a specific purpose. That's what you want to come into a game thinking. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of the video commentary, because I'm kind of a fan of it, really. I like the idea that it feels like I'm talking to you guys. I mean, it may just be, one guy on a podium, but I feel like it's maybe a bit of a better connection. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.